It is Monday, and joining me behind the table is the lovely Sunny Hostin. How are you, Sunny?
I'm well, Brian.
We had a good show today, and we started off by talking about Senator Bernie Sanders and Congresswoman AOC, their rallies over the weekend.
Yeah.
They looked very well attended, and you said Democrats need a fighting opposition party. You've said that a couple of times.
I have, but now I have statistics to back it up.
Well, tell me what you mean by that, and are we seeing it this weekend? Is that what this is?
I had a meeting with, along with some other thought leaders, with Terrence Woodbury. I hope I'm getting his name right.
Yeah, you mentioned that on the show.
Yeah, and he's from Hit Strategies, and he's a statistician, and just a really great thought leader and a thinker. And he's done the data, and he's looked at the data, and he has found that, especially in terms of Black voters and voters overall, about 78% of Democratic voters want a fighting opposition party. They don't want a minority party. They don't want the status quo. They want to see that their representatives are fighting for them. They also want to see an agenda. What is the plan? So when you talk about a Barack Obama, his plan was more of a bipartisan plan. We are not red states. We are not blue states. We are the United States of America. I think that'll go down in history, right? So his plan was, I am the president. Even if you didn't vote for me, I am your president. Let's all work together. And then you
that was successful.
And it was a successful, not as successful as I think some people would say it could have been. He got the Affordable Care Act passed. That was one of his big successes.
And he got reelected.
And he got reelected. But there were some failures there because people refused to work with him on a bipartisan nature. Right. I would, especially when it came to appointing people to the Supreme Court. So that was a fail, right?
Fair enough.
I think when you think about Joe Biden, it was let's save the soul of a nation. That was an agenda. Trump has the Project 2025 agenda. And the things that it seems that most voters are concerned about is the economy, but not necessarily the economy in a 50-foot view. It's a day-to-day cost. What is this costing me type of economy? Why are my eggs more expensive? Why is my gas more expensive? How is this hurting me? And then immigration, while it isn't a huge issue for the majority of Black voters, although that is the base that Democrats need to win. It is an issue for a lot of voters, but they seem to think that it would never apply to them, and it has, right? They thought, it's only going to be the undocumented immigrants. It's only going to be the immigrants that may be here on a visa that have overstayed it. It may be immigrants who have committed crimes. No, it seems like it's all immigrants are fair game right now. And so when you look at the stats, I do like to be right, but yes, we need a fight. We need that verve. We need that energy, because right now it just feels like business as usual. We're going to work within the rules. And Mitch McConnell, as the minority leader, knew that the Democrats would work within the rules, which is why he blew up the rules. Our minority leader, who is my good friend Hakeem Jeffries, is a rules follower, has always been. And I think it's just time for the Democrats to look at the data that I've seen and look at the data that a lot of people have seen and realize that that is really not what the American people want. They want an agenda that answers those very serious questions.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we've been talking about since the election, that there didn't seem to be the fight that was there initially after the election. And I think at different levels, everyone at the table has kind of wondered where that was and who would be behind it.
I'm fighting, Brian.
I know you are. But when we look at, I'm a little surprised that it's Bernie again. That's really the person that's getting people out of their seats for the first time, it feels like.
I'm not surprised that it's Bernie. No one's surprised that it's AOC.
No.
But I do think that their message is wrong. Their message is one of classism. And when you look at the data again, you look at college-educated voters. They voted overwhelmingly democratically. And so that would lead you to believe that it's class. If you look at the Black community, it's a combination of college-educated African Americans and non-college educated African Americans. Race is an issue for them. And so to just sort of erase diversity, equity, and inclusion from the conversation means that you lose your base. So Bernie's message of class failed miserably. He failed with that message, I think 2-1 to Joe Biden. And so that is not the appropriate message, but I think AOC's message, which is more of an answer to Project 2025, which is Medicare for all, Medicaid for all, and a living wage, that kind of thing. If they can put something together, save Social Security, they can put something together like that. And also LGBTQ plus rights. Don't run away from that. Don't run away from diversity, equity, and inclusion. If you can include all of those things that the base is concerned about, and just not hinge it on, Bernie bros and class issues, I think we can get somewhere.
It seems incredibly early to be talking about it, but you are starting to see people start to poise themselves for a run.
Sure.
I don't know if it's going to be AOC, but you see it with Pete Buttigieg. You see it with. You've seen.
Yeah, he's not running for senator or governor. What are you running for, Pete?
It could be anything. So it's going to be fascinating to see as people start standing up and saying,
sure,
this is the moment. And the great thing about The View in these times is, theoretically, we're going to have primaries on both parties, and hopefully we'll have a lot of people here to talk about that.
I think so.
We had John Leguizamo on Friday,
Love him.
And he's great. And he said something that I feel like you've said before.
Yeah.
Basically, that when the Black community and the Hispanic community come together, they're unstoppable.
Oh, well, it's true. I mean, right now, for the first time ever, I think the white majority is no longer the white majority. It's 48%. And so the rest is up for grabs. And so you have Asian communities, and you have Black communities, and you have Latino communities. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but Latinos will surpass the African American community, which right now is at about 13%. So if you look at that voting power, there are so many similarities. Unfortunately, in terms of the Latino community, and this has been studied, I'm not speaking emotionally, I'm just speaking factually, there has been anti-Blackness from the Latino community. And that's because of the structural barriers that have been put in place and because of the history of this country. I think if we can get past that, and John Leguizamo indicated that, if we can get past this notion of division between African Americans and Latinos, that is a really powerful voting bloc with overlapping issues that speak to all of them. That's an unstoppable combination, in my opinion, and it's something that, as you know, I've worked on, being Afro-Latina.
Right.
It's something that I've worked on my whole life, but it's there is a division there.
You mentioned Joe Biden earlier, and there was a story over the weekend about how the former president reached out to the DNC offering to help.
Yes.
And reportedly, the offer fell flat. They weren't interested.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Do you feel like the Democrats need Joe Biden right now?
Well, I can tell you that I went to the premiere of Othello yesterday.
That's the hottest ticket in town.
It apparently is.
Denzel Washington and Jake Gyllenhaal. And when President Biden walked in, there was a standing ovation of about 500 people. Sure.
I was sitting next to Sam Jackson, Danielle Brooks, Felicia Rashad, Nia Long, just Susan Fields Hill. The list goes on. And Anna Wintour. Ooh. I tried to get her attention because I want to go to the Met Gala, but she didn't pay me any attention, although she did compliment my suit.
Maybe she listens to Behind the Table.
I don't know. Please, Anna.
Seems unlikely.
Just one ticket. But everyone stood up. Mm-hmm. Hello, Mr. President. I wanted to say something to him. There was just a line down.
A receiving line, sure.
A receiving line. Secret Service didn't know what to do with themselves. They took all of our phones, actually, which was very interesting. That hadn't happened to me for a long time, at a play especially. So I just, from that reception, that told me all I needed to know. The DNC, is a little rudderless right now. Take his call.
Right. You didn't heckle Jake Gyllenhaal about the red scarf, did you?
I did not.
Okay, good.
I did not. I was so good.
I appreciate
You'd be
that.
so proud.
Show great? I heard it's great.
Yeah,
it's Shakespeare.
You must love Shakespeare.
Sure.
And I went into it with Manny, a Shakespearean lover, and Othello in particular. And Denzel Washington does not disappoint. Jake doesn't disappoint either. I loved it, but I could see some people were sort of lost because they weren't dressed in Shakespearean fashion. It was just like they were dressed sort of in contemporary fashion, but it wasn't jarring to me at all because, Othello is a general, and so he was dressed sort of in military fatigues.
Oh.
And I think it just messed people up, and they were a little confused, but those performances were some of the best performances I've ever seen.
No, I'd love to see Denzel on
I
stage.
will say, though, Purpose, which I also saw last week, is a must.
We have the lead coming on next week.
Yes, I spoke to Sam Jackson, her husband, and he said, yeah, she's having fun with it. I was like, more than fun. She's amazing. She needs a Tony.
LaTanya's on the show, I think Thursday this week. So that'll be great.
It was, you must see it.
All right. So this weekend, you went to visit Paloma at college.
I did.
Tell me about this. Was this the first big trip, or was this? No, you've been a couple times.
I went to Parents Weekend in January. In the fall. But what was so incredible was, she was scared. I dropped her off. She didn't have her tribe. She didn't really know anybody. I witnessed a different Paloma.
Oh, that's great.
Paloma's got her tribe. She's a dancer. She was in what we call the Stroll Show, which is part of the Divine Nine. Stroll like an alpha, and she was sort of the leader of the dance troupe. Her dance troupe won. Her Stroll troupe won, and then and I went there with Gabriel. Actually flew in to see it, which was amazing. And when she saw her brother,
what a good brother.
She just, they did break into like a kung fu dance thing that they used to do as children in front of others, and it was a little embarrassing.
Sure.
I was embarrassed for them.
Yeah, I understand.
But they loved it. And then the next day, my mother, my aunt, Manny's sister, and Manny, and our former au pair, myself, we all went to a fashion show that she was in.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we were deep. We were deep. And when they say like, don't applaud until everyone's out.
Well, that's not for Sonny Hostin.
It doesn't work for the Hostins.
No.
Like, we were like kind of loud.
Yeah!
Loud and proud.
How did that go over?
There was one person that turned around at us, but everyone else understood the assignment. You're proud.
Now, does Paloma love that? Hate that? What does she think?
She texted me, "I love y'all."
Oh, that's great. That's
so
great.
she heard us and she loved it, and she was just. We all went out to dinner afterwards, and she had a great time. I actually flew out Sunday morning at 5:30 a.m. from Ithaca because I was gonna see Othello at 6:15. And as I was walking out at around 4 a.m., my son and daughter were coming in from the party. So
oh, wow. All right.
I'm thinking that the after party for the fashion show was excellent.
I had this conversation with Anna last week. How late do you party when you go out now? Like, what's the cap for you? Because I'm an old man. I'm done at 1.
I can do 2.
Okay, 2. All right.
I can do 2 if the next day is Sunday.
Anna's still doing like 4 a.m. for like a big party. I can't do that.
I can't do it. Anna out parties me. If it is a Sunday, like yesterday, Othello, I skipped the after party, which is...
Unlike you. That's a good turnout, too, for that party.
Yeah,
that's rough.
It was going to be really good. Viola Davis was there.
Ooh.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Okay.
I couldn't do it and be here because tonight I have a speaking engagement for Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I'm opening up our public meeting in Connecticut, so I've got to be on for that.
Okay, I understand that.
So I decided to sleep last night.
All right. Well, I think that was good for the show. Speaking of kids, we have a question from Noelle in Washington.
Okay.
She asks, Sonny, you mentioned wishing you had been more prepared to become an empty nester.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on what preparations are needed? I'm the mother of 3 children and have a demanding career in academia.
I was completely unprepared for how empty the nest feels.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I will say. I mean, I think you need to understand that just like you understand life transitions, you go to college, that's a life transition. You're no longer sort of like, you're kidulting. I call it kidulting. You're kidulting. Like you're kind of an adult because you're 18, but you're like not really an adult. And then like maybe you'll go to graduate school. And so like you're kind of an adult, but like you don't have a job, so you're not really an adult. And then like you may get married. That's another like transition. You get your first job. That's another transition. You have a baby. That's a huge transition. When those babies leave you, like
That's a big transition.
That's a huge transition that no one seems to talk about. And I'm like, so what do I do now? I did the marriage and the baby thing and the school thing and the job thing. And I've done all the things, but that thing, like, I don't know what that, I had no idea what that would look like. And my understanding is that it looks different for everyone.
I'm hopeful it means that the wife then pays all the attention they were paying to the kids to the husband.
I believe that's what my husband thought.
Yeah.
But the wife is in mourning. And all the wife is excited about is for the birds to come back to the nest.
Yeah.
And my birds like to come back to the nest.
Well, that's good.
So it's a lot of fun.
That's good.
But I will say Manny and I have we have like this newfound freedom, and now we're like, hey, maybe we should like go to that trip.
Yeah, well,
normally we would never, but we've got a lot of dogs and cats and chickens and stuff. But, you know, we have my mom that will take care of them.
You say it like it's the Muppets.
Yeah, like we have a lot of animals and everything that miss us, actually, when we're not there. I've got to get home to my cats soon because one cat doesn't come out unless I'm there. But we do, like, go out to dinner a little bit more.
Well, that's kind of when you initially talk about it, and I've got enough time with my kids still, God willing, that I'm not worried about the loneliness. You don't have that much time.
You only have, what, 5 years?
Well, I mean, my oldest is 13, yeah.
Yeah, you got 5 years.
All right, well.
That goes back, like, look, genie blink, it's gone.
All right.
Sorry.
When you initially mention it, I think like, oh, we can travel, we can do this, we can do whatever we want, but
it feels like
it's gonna
that.
Be sad.
But it's sad. But like one of the fun things is like we have our View hiatus coming up. And I was thinking, you know, I was going to go out of the country, but maybe I'll just go to Puerto Rico off the mainland. And Gabriel's like, oh, I don't have classes that Friday. I'll join you. So like the
hang
kids,
around.
The kids hang.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, they hang.
Until they get married.
And then they'll hang with their families.
Yes.
And there's more people.
Yes. And you'll love whoever they marry, I'm sure. And it'll go really easily because that's just the way you're built.
Yeah, I love everybody.
All right. I saw this next story, and I feel like it's something you can relate to.
Yes.
Rob Lowe recently admitted that he has an overly inappropriate interest in his adult son's love lives.
Why would that be inappropriate?
I thought you'd say that. He says, I'm angling for grandkids.
Yes.
So the question is, what is the appropriate amount of meddling in the Hostin house? And is it only you that does it?
I do believe in, oh no, it's not just me. I mean, everybody has to buy in.
Right.
Paloma has to buy in too.
So everyone's got to sign off.
Yeah, we've all got to sign off. Grandma especially.
Ooh.
Yeah, grandma's got to sign off. I mean, it's not an easy crowd.
But how much do the kids care about the sign off?
They like the sign off.
They like the sign off.
Yeah. They will only bring people over that they believe could possibly get the sign off, except Gabriel just doesn't understand who can get the sign off and who can't get the sign off. Mm-hmm. So he got the sign off once. Like he's like, 1 for 5.
How quickly do they bring them home?
Paloma does not bring them home.
Right. Yeah, okay.
She's aware.
Yeah, she's still young.
That the sign off is likely not going to happen. I shouldn't say she doesn't bring them home. She has brought them home. Mm-hmm. And there was one like semi sign off. They were just semi sign offs.
It's tough.
None of them have gotten the sign off really.
Yeah. Yeah.
One.
I understand.
One got the sign off.
I would require signing off as well.
Yeah,
which is unlikely.
You've got you marry a family.
Yes, you do.
You date a family.
Yeah.
We go on family vacations.
The thing is, those are just words until you're in it. That's the thing. Like nobody gets it until it actually happens.
Yeah, and they need to get it soon.
They do. All right. Well, I'm curious about this because I feel like you're a tough crowd.
The Hostins are a tough crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
I feel like trying too hard is a problem.
Yeah.
Not hard enough is a problem.
It's all a problem. Yeah. We're fun, though.
Yeah, definitely fun.
We're fun.
But high expectations.
Yes.
All right. Before we go, I just saw this question from Kelly in New Jersey. It's for me. I just watched David Blaine's trick. Brian, how did that dollar bill in a glass taste? Not good. Not good. And by the way, so Joy, in the moment, if you remember this,
I don't remember.
You don't remember this. All right. So I'd like a clip, please, if we can find a clip.
I need a clip.
Joy said, I'll give you $100 if you drink it.
I thought David Blaine.
They both said it.
Oh, I didn't catch Joy. I caught David
Joy
Blaine
said it first, then David Blaine said it.
I'll pay for that.
Well, how much?
$100.
I'll give you $100 if you drink it.
Really? Then I drank the disgusting concoction.
It tasted like an ashtray.
It was an ashtray. It was. It was
a carcinogen.
That's not good. Yeah, I should not have drank
that.
Well,
I'm only saying it was a carcinogen because when I explained it to my husband, he said, so he drank just a straight up carcinogen is what he said. And he said, maybe he should take some charcoal pills. How is he feeling?
I wasn't feeling great.
And then I texted you and you said you weren't feeling great.
No, I wasn't feeling great. It really was till Saturday until I felt okay.
Did you take charcoal pills?
I didn't. Maybe is it too late?
I think you probably
I'll take
should.
some charcoal pills. I don't know what they are, but I'll take them.
Yeah.
And in the
doctor says so.
It wasn't great, but they did promise me the money. And I guess like David Blaine technically gave me $100 back. It was the $100 that we were on fire. So maybe he's off the hook, but Joy owes me $100.
I don't remember her saying that.
All right, we have a clip. And when I confronted her, she said she'd take me to lunch after a podcast, which I guess is fine. I'll
spend $100.
Yeah, well, I'll get. Believe me, I could get that money up. All right, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Brian.
Sonny Hostin. Tomorrow I'll be back on with Sarah Haynes. We got a great show, and we'll see you then.